First of all, thank you, Eid, for hosting. It's a pleasure to be on the Dardish show, and I have very high hopes for this show, Yani.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for being the ideal entrepreneur and pivoting multiple times, since I've known you for a long time now, and I know how long it took you to get to this stage, Yani.
Wow.
Very much appreciated.
Wow, I appreciate that, man. I was gonna do an intro, but you just did a beautiful job. Thank you so much, man. Guys, welcome to the Dardish show. I'm so excited for this episode. Our guest today is the one and only Talal M. He's been in the entrepreneurship space for a while. So if you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, or somebody who's interested in marketing or starting a business, this episode is for you. Welcome to the Dardish show, a place to sit back, relax, and enjoy a good conversation. So without further ado, let's get started. Talal Al-Ajeel. Can you just introduce yourself to the audience?
Well, lovely introduction. Very much humbled, صراحة. So, Talal Al-Ajeel. Okay, that's a very general question now. So, I'm going to give a quick background about myself, and then we'll dig deeper into the general entrepreneurship realm. So, I consider myself a serial social entrepreneur who's very much interested in impact investing. Obviously, the monetary aspect is an addition to that, but the core value here is really making an impact both on the community and the people I'm around. وأهلي وربعي وناسي وجماعتي, the stakeholders I'm around, the people I operate around, يعني. And this is visible in the businesses I've started. You've been a valued client of one of our businesses, which is Riyadh Collaborative Workspaces, and that is basically a co-working office space where we support entrepreneurs in a physical platform and try to make them feel at home as much as possible, where they can conduct and follow their dreams, basically. Of which we're expanding now locally and regionally, inshallah. So fingers crossed. If there are any investors, that are willing to invest, please, by all means, yani. I've taken a partner role in that. I used to be a managing partner. Now I'm more on the monitoring side of that, and I am venturing into my other core ventures as well, which is Irada Business Incubator, very much aligned with Riyadh Collaborative Workspaces, where we basically put entrepreneurs through a 6-week program, idea stage. We validate the ideas. Should the ideas not be validated, we pivot the ideas. And basically...
What do you mean pivot the ideas?
Okay, so help support the entrepreneur shift the idea to be more marketable to the local market. If it does not work in the Kuwaiti scene, the regional scene, we try to support that shift in mindset for the entrepreneur, because, you know, being an entrepreneur, we're very much stubborn in our ideas, so it's very much hard for us to change our ideas and shift the vision and everything in between, يعني.
Especially if it's your baby.
Exactly بالضبط. فthat's Irada, and we've partnered up with Zain Telecommunications, and they've been a very key stakeholder, key supporter of this vision, and taking it forward, and inshallah being a regional powerhouse for entrepreneurs, ideas, startups, even established businesses, where we can support in the acceleration, and down the line establish a funding network to actually invest in these businesses. يعني the long-term vision is for us to have an investment platform where either investments are done via crowdfunding or via our own funds, inshallah, if we make it big, يعني. So again, fingers crossed, يعني. That's the second venture. Third venture, which I have started, it was actually an indebted company. It was oil and gas contracting business, subcontracting business, which I've acquired around 3 years ago. Highly indebted. I acquired it because of the licenses it had. Made it much easier for me to get into that industry.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting industry to get into. Huh?
a tiring one as well, considering the competition there. Yani. Very saturated because obviously you have the big players and so forth. So you don't want to compete. You want to again vertically integrate. That's the strategy I like going about. I like to work with people that are already established in the market. Yani. That's that. That's so far my entrepreneurship journey. I consider myself planting seeds actually. And I've yet to plant more seeds, and I still don't consider myself a success. I don't know if that's an empowering thing or something that keeps me going, but it definitely does. Yani.
Do you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
Okay, that question. Entrepreneurship is. I don't want to say it's a hype word, but for me, entrepreneurship is defined as someone that's obsessed with making a change.
Wow.
So it's not someone that is a business entrepreneur solely. Entrepreneurship can be many things. So you can be a career entrepreneur, you can be a business entrepreneur, you can be a political entrepreneur, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not focused on solely startups as the normal definition in the, let's say, normal jargon. Mm-hmm. That's my definition of entrepreneurship. Do I consider myself an entrepreneur? I guess so, yeah.
Nice.
I'm on my way to being one, inshallah. Yes.
Nice.
So
I remember somebody saying something about, it's tricky when he said something around the lines of don't hire an entrepreneur because it's very tricky. They will always find a way to solve another problem, or just they're constantly hungry or looking for something.
Correct. Well, let me tell you something. Most entrepreneurs are very much lazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a paradox though.
Yes, we are active, but we also like to find the easy way, which makes us innovators in our own right.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So you don't believe in the work hard, hustle every day kind of entrepreneur, or?
I believe in the work hard, manage your time well, and have fun. I believe in that.
I love that combination.
I believe in that.
Allah.
For me, weekends.
Work hard, manage your time, and don't forget to have fun.
And don't forget to have fun, because you have to switch off, right?
Yeah.
So my weekends, Thursday night, Friday, I am offline.
Nice.
Offline.
Nice.
Hey.
And your team knows that Talal or our boss on the weekends, no phone calls,
I don't
no
answer.
connections. You don't answer.
Purely, yeah.
And how important do you think that is? Because I know, and you know, a lot of entrepreneurs that just can't shut off, especially if they have like e-businesses or something that needs their constant attention.
Correct. So switching off is a form of fuel. All right. So you need it, because if you work 7 days a week, 24/7, you're going to be burned out, and you're not going to function as optimal as you can potentially, right? So having that 1 day or 24 hours off is really a fuel for you to keep going. It's you shouldn't look at it in a negative light. بالعكس, you should see it in a way, and okay, I need this time off. I need to spend time with my family. I need to spend time with my friends. I need to wind down. I need to have this view of the beach. I need to whatever. فهمت قصدي؟
I see it as a way of fuel. Although Tara, this dude is a really, really hard worker. Like I see him in the office all day and at night at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. He's just there working. So I like the fact that you say that you're going to have to take care of your relationships with your friends, with yourself, with your family. And how essential do you think these things are for an entrepreneur?
Absolutely.
Because entrepreneurship can be a lonely road.
I think that's a very good question actually, because a support network is extremely important. And without the support network I have luckily around me, I would definitely not be where I am today.
Wow.
Definitely. Whether it is family, whether it is my close friends, whether it is the team I'm around actually.
Yeah.
And speaking about team, so a successful basically is the book I read actually, The Beer Mat Entrepreneur. So I recommend everyone to read that actually.
What's the name?
The Beer Mat Entrepreneur.
The Beer Mat.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Do we have to censor that or no?
It's staying.
Basically, so to have a successful startup or successful team, back to basically the support network away from the family and friends, internally in a business, there's 3 core components, which I've experienced actually and relate to the book very much, which is basically the magnet, the maker, and the monitor.
3 M's.
3 M's. بالضبط. So the magnet, obviously, the magnet, من اسمها, right? He's the leader, he's the guy that takes charge, he's probably the visionary, but not necessarily the technical guy that can get the work done. And then you have the maker, which is the technical guy. Then you have the monitor, which is the observer. And actually, the monitor is kind of above all the 3 M's. And I luckily have that in most of my ventures. Alhamdulillah.
You have a monitor.
I have the monitor, which is not me, absolutely not.
Yes.
And I have the maker, which I come in as a third maker, let's say, but I'm 2/3 a magnet. I'm 2/3 a magnet.
Nice.
So I'm the go-getter. I'm the go-getter, and I like to basically seal the deal.
I like that. I like that. So instead of working in your business, at one point you're gonna have to start working on your business.
Correct.
And how do you think, how important is being able to lead a team or just manage an organization?
Okay, so managing people is a task in itself, and it's a huge mission, and it's something I love, and I don't consider myself managing people because most of the entities I work in, I horizontally operate. So even the people I hire, they're leaders.
Wow.
Yes.
And are they skills you teach them, or you hire them based on those skills?
So I hire them based on high-level skills that I need in the business, but naturally the character is something I find out in my first sit down with someone.
Wow.
Yeah. My first.
Do you know what? I remember our first sit down, man. Like around 2 years ago. I went to Riyadh and I wanted to get an office. And me and you sat. And I was like, damn, this dude is amazing. High energy, well-spoken. And then I asked you how old you were. And you were young. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Mashallah. But what I noticed is that this dude is an amazing salesperson. Like, he even followed up with me. I remember a week later, I was at my dad's place having lunch. And my phone rang. And I was like, hello, how's it going? It's Talal Ajeel from Riyadh. I was just checking if you wanted to get that office. After that phone call, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, and I consider Aid, by the way, I consider Aid an anchor tenant. So he was a very valued client of mine, and alhamdulillah. So thank you for the support, صراحة يعني. Back to selling one, I took part in your the live coaching session initially you did. That was amazing for me personally. I still have the wheel of life? A4, the tree of life. Nice. The tree of life. I still have it in my office.
Oh, the tree of life.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I still have it hand.
That's amazing, man.
And I had the birds flying, which was, I think it was optimism, right?
Yes.
Future thinking or something of the sort. Yeah.
That's amazing, man. I appreciate you attending that workshop. He was there and he just said, let's do it. He's open to trying new things, which I think is amazing, man. It's amazing. So let's talk about.
I just want to stop. Go for it. Back to open.
Yeah.
That's a very good word to use. بعد لأن open-mindedness in business is very important. You can't be rigid. You can't be fixated on your. You have to be fixated on your values and ethics, obviously, but you can't be fixated on the idea. You have to be very flexible, let's say, and easily adaptable. Being in Kuwait is not that easy to be adaptable. But if you want to be a global entrepreneur and a regional entrepreneur, I think you really have to have an open mind and be open to different cultures, different mindsets, different ethical backgrounds, different genders. And so be it.
صح, I agree, man. Like being flexible, just down there. I mean, it's pretty tricky too. And I realize that it takes a thick skin. So yani, I realize that a lot of people take things too personally, and that really can destroy not just the business but the person bad also.
Exactly.
You know,
100%.
Yeah, man. Like taking things also with social media now being part of and personal branding, something that wasn't there like 15, 20 years ago. You know, like certain people. What do you think of that?
Okay. I'm very opinionated when it comes to that. So I value my personal life very much. I was gonna go through the route of personally branding myself and being more open within the social networks, but I decided to tame that thought, let's say, and be more personal in my life. Do I oppose social media, social networks, and what's happening and the entire trend? I don't want to call it a trend. It's the actual norm nowadays within marketing. So if you're not in that game, you're definitely behind. So as an entrepreneur, yes, that is a channel I utilize heavily. Personally, no.
Is it because your businesses don't require you being in front, or yes, having a personal brand and you being maybe the magnet?
I think I definitely should be.
Yeah.
I should have a personal brand, but I made a personal choice not to do it. And why is that? I think I just don't like it.
Yeah. What don't you like about it?
Being exposed. Being exposed, I'd say. Being exposed, being probably bombarded. I think utilizing my time away from my phone and away from social networks is more valuable than in it. On the flip side though, when it comes to marketing, I utilize it heavily, as I said. It's a weird, it's kind of contradictory, but
I agree with you, man, because sometimes, because you can't undo it sometimes. When khalas, your freedom, your personal life is out there, you can't go back to being just somebody that not everyone knows, you know? When it comes to marketing, let's talk marketing.
All right.
So what are the things you tried or trends that are going on now in the region?
Regional trends.
Yeah.
Regional trends.
Okay, let's talk about social media influencers. That's a trend, right?
That's a number one trend.
That's the number one trend.
Believe it or not, I've never utilized social media influencers. Just again, my businesses don't entail or don't need such a channel.
Because they're B2B mostly? Or?
Correct. Because they're mostly B2B, absolutely. But if I had a retail business, I would definitely go for social media influencers as a channel amongst other channels as well. So when it comes to marketing, obviously you have the social media network. We're talking Facebook pages, we're talking Instagram ads, and it's your bread and butter basically. Most of these channels I utilize. On top of that, obviously the AdWords, the specific target segmentation, and so on and so forth. So when it comes to marketing and me being a good salesman,
You are.
I like to keep my knowledge going when it comes to marketing and always keep getting more. Luckily enough, I have a very good marketing team on board, which involves a marketing director, a strategist, a creative director, which is the main components you need to have a solid marketing team and to have someone push your vision forward. Because obviously you can be a magnet, as we said, but at the end of the day, you need to communicate that vision to the market. And that's something I'm not good at, but some of my team members are.
That's I love that, man. That's so true. Okay, so I think when I sit with an entrepreneur and I feel that when somebody's selling themselves, it's contagious.
I'm trying not to sell myself, by the way.
That's trying.
I'm trying to shift away from selling myself.
See, I think that's the thing. I think it's something you can't undo. Exactly. Like when you're so passionate about your baby, your business, whatever, just talking about it is selling.
Yeah.
But a lot of entrepreneurs are somewhat introverts.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on those?
On the introvert entrepreneurs, most introvert entrepreneurs that I have met are actually creatives. They are probably the makers.
Yeah.
Definitely the makers. And they're the people, I wouldn't call them behind the desk, but they're the people that are getting the work done. So, believe it or not, actually, introverts are really good in interviews. صراحة.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, they're quite socially anxious when they're around, let's say, a normal setting. But when you put them on the spot, they're
They
on the
perform.
grind. Yeah, they perform.
Are you an
They perform.
introvert or not?
I consider myself a pure extrovert, actually. Being a Leo as well, it's
part of the package, huh?
Part of the package, I guess. Part of the package, yes.
Nice, man. I love that. So I want to talk about Irada.
All right.
Because a lot of people might not know about this amazing project. And can you just explain the 6 weeks, correct? 6 weeks?
Yes. So the 6-week program is basically taking entrepreneurs from the idea stage all the way to potentially operating successfully. So what does that entail? It's weekly topics ranging from idea validation, design thinking, strategic management, strategic planning, operational planning, marketing planning, go-to-market plan, action plan, resource management, human resources, talent management, as we just discussed earlier as well. And then wrapping all your findings into let's call it a pitch deck, which is something every entrepreneur should know. And then pitching your idea to the market, to investors, to the national fund, since we are accredited by the national fund and licensed by them. We're the first licensed government incubator, alhamdulillah.
Really?
Alhamdulillah, yes.
Alhamdulillah, that's amazing. So what does that mean when you say?
Okay, so being government licensed basically gives us first dibs.
Without having to go through the process of...
when it comes to the evaluation process of the entrepreneurs, when you graduate from Irada program, you're automatically qualified for financing. That does not necessarily mean you will get the financing, but you do qualify for it. And it's more of an expedited journey into attaining that financing. Yani. And why we get it? Because again, we're accredited, we're certified, and so on and so forth. We've developed quite a solid curriculum. Yani.
Really?
Alhamdulillah.
Because there's a lot of curriculums that do the entrepreneurship from idea until investments.
Correct.
Or so what makes this program different?
What makes this program different? The team, us, and the institution behind us as well. Zain Telecommunications, absolutely. So as having Zain as a key backer of this initiative,
with their experience with startups and entrepreneurship.
Exactly. And
Wow.
their entire youth development platform, which involves the Zain Innovation Campus, which recently opened. So every entrepreneur that takes part in Irada is basically entitled to utilize the Zain Innovation Campus for their work, exactly, as a co-working office space on top of Riyadh, which we have. Yani. You can also utilize their high-level executives as mentors. You can utilize the consultants they have on board. You definitely get special B2B rates on the digital hardware, whether it be routers, whether it be B2B SIMs for your team, and so on and so forth. So
that's great.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Great.
We've managed to create a good synergy between a corporate institution and an entrepreneurial institution to come up
and
with
the
such
government
a product.
institution too.
And the government institution, absolutely.
Like a nice Venn diagram.
Venn diagram, بالضبط.
The middle is where's the juice
The
and
triangle.
the energy. And
بالضبط.
So you said that they'll get some mentors and they can use the mentors over there.
Correct.
If they need it. How important do you think mentors are?
I have 3 mentors. Personally.
Really?
Yes.
Tell me more.
Cool. So the 3 mentors I have are tackle different avenues of my life, not necessarily on the professional, but also on the personal as well. And I think mentors are very important to have if you want to be successful, because they've been through the process themselves. They've been through most of the failures that you are going to face. So as opposed to facing them, you can live through others, right?
Of course.
بالضبط. I've managed to live through others a few times. Yet again, I've still made loads of mistakes, يعني, and I've yet to learn from my mistakes. But some mistakes are redundant, so they say if you continue doing the same mistakes, it's a decision. I guess.
I love that.
فما يندرى يعني.
That's very true.
بالضبط.
Very true.
but some mistakes you want to keep doing because maybe you think that they're right يعني and being a stubborn entrepreneur تبي تكمل المشوار يعني.
I go to Mark Cuban, it only has to work once.
Exactly.
So you can sometimes you just it is gonna work until one day it just does, you know. You know. And who are your mentors? Is that a private question?
Yes. I can tell you what they do.
Yeah.
Okay. So I started off my professional life in investment banking back in the days, and I used to live in Abu Dhabi. So one of the
you used
mentors.
To live in Abu Dhabi?
I used to live in Abu Dhabi.
Really?
Yeah, for 7 months actually. Yes.
Wow.
So I worked in National Bank of Abu Dhabi asset management. I used to be a corporate initial corporate.
Wow.
Exactly.
That makes sense now. Okay. That makes sense when you talk about finance and investments. That gives you the background, the experience, and the knowledge. That explains. Okay.
It was an interesting start يعني, and I saw the entrepreneurial revolution come about يعني, and I want to ride the tide.
You saw it there or here?
I saw it everywhere in the region. وأنا أصلاً I graduated in new venture management. So
new venture management.
Exactly, new venture management, entrepreneurial finance.
Okay. Say more about that. What does that mean?
So everyone says, what is innovation? How do you study innovation? How do you study entrepreneurship, right?
Yes.
I thought that. I started off in finance actually. And then the institution I studied in, which is Northeastern University in Boston, is one of the leading schools when it comes to experiential learning. So experiential learning is basically learning through experiences. Rather than actual formal curriculums and formal education يعني. I saw this entrepreneurship program, read about it, new venture management, what is innovation management, boom. Took the first class, which is innovation. And we basically sold our first, what was it? I think it was a waffle maker, automated waffle maker or something like that. Yeah.
What does that mean?
I have no idea. but that's part of the innovation aspect. يعني.
I'm getting automated waffles.
بالضبط.
Alright, we're good. Okay, so that was part of the innovation process.
Part of the innovation process, yeah. And then part of that curriculum also we had entrepreneurial finance, which teaches you how to raise funds, which teaches you how to value a business, and so on and so forth.
That's amazing.
Alhamdulillah, exactly. That was a huge benefit for me to come back home and actually implement, and the corporate backing as well, where I started off was an additional backing and an additional support to my mindset. يعني
beautiful tools to have in your toolbox, man.
Alhamdulillah.
Seriously, especially since you're doing what you're doing, and you are credible. And when it comes to irada and creating this curriculum and program and what you studied, and that really makes sense. So what happened after you studied entrepreneurship?
What happened after I studied entrepreneurship?
Like in Abu Dhabi?
I was okay. So I went there. I had the corporate route. I liked it. But what happens in the corporate route, right? It's pretty much volatile, especially if you work in the investment background. 2014, mid 2014, right? We had the oil crisis. Market
very low.
Exactly. I decided, I was like, do I want to continue in the red or do I want to go to the green? Right? The green being the entrepreneurship road. And I was anyways passionate about it in general. We had the co-working space idea, me and my partners, initially when we were in the States, Aslan, and we had the plan laid out. I was like, you know what? Boom, let's jump the bandwagon. Let's start this, khalas.
And start what?
The leap of faith, co-working office space.
And back in the day, it was fresh in Kuwait, huh?
It was very fresh. So we came in. I wouldn't say we were the first to enter the market. I have to give credit to the people that were there first. But we were the second to market. And the first to market and the second to market are very different in terms of brand recognition and offerings. The first being more on the creative freelance targeting aspect, and us more being on the, let's say, young luxury professional side. يعني.
I love how you put it, because it is true. It's exactly that. It's exactly that. It is luxury. It is really nice, really beautiful.
But it's affordable, guys. It's very affordable.
It is. It is. I mean, the prices are pretty much the same everywhere in Kuwait. So you guys are killing it. Okay, so you started Riyada.
Yeah.
Who did the interior design? Because I absolutely
The
love
interior design was actually a dear friend of ours that used to live in New York. Her name is Aisha Al-Gououd. She used to have a company called AAQ Design. She used to work in a WeWork back in New York. WeWork is our global benchmark and one of the leading co-working office providers globally.
Global benchmark.
For us.
Okay.
Hey, فاحنا because we want to be a regional powerhouse when it comes to co-working office spaces, we got to benchmark to the best يعني.
Nice.
They're huge, and WeWork operates, I don't know, 100 cities right now, maybe more, in the span of 5 years, and they're valued around 20 billion.
What?
20 billion, yeah. I'd like 1% of that.
It's a co-working space.
It's a co-working space, imagine.
How do you, what? Like how, is the business model all kind of the same? Like renting offices, is that the main income?
That is the main income, yes. So basically,
so it's a very simple business model.
It's a very simple business model, correct? But why do landlords like that business model, right? We work with landlords.
Of course.
And we are tenants of landlords. And being tenants of landlords, we take a huge burden of the landlords of having to rent out each floor to a different tenant, right? So that's the value added. And today in entrepreneurship, most of the businesses that are coming to market are value added businesses. So you integrate, let's say, even fintech, right? Today fintech is a huge segment that is booming.
What is fintech?
So fintech is financial technology.
Okay.
So an example of financial technology would be
Bitcoin.
That is a form of financial. That is a currency.
Okay.
Correct. That is a one part of the fintech realm, which. Are we going to be opinionated, right? We want to have a lot of comments to come in here. So I don't like.
You don't like crypto?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
So what do you mean when you say financial technology?
So financial technology, basically, let's give you an example. Robo-advisors, for example, right? Automated investment. So as opposed to you having to work with a investment advisor to help you invest into the stock market.
You put your numbers and I'll give you an estimate.
You put your numbers and it will give you something. No, you don't put your numbers. You actually fill out a form that tells you what your risk profile is as a person, and the machine invests on your behalf for a lower value. So me and you today can afford investing in a robo-advisor. And an example of that locally we just started is called MBK Smart Wealth.
MBK Smart Wealth.
Exactly. So for $5,000 initial, you can start investing in the global market.
Wow. And having the best, some of the best investors, advisors
behind you without you knowing who the back end is, and it doesn't matter, right? This is
the approvals are faster, the information is faster, كل شيء is faster. And okay, so let's give المشاهدين an idea when you say investing $5,000, around 1,500 KD. Is it worth the ROI for a beginner?
Good question, actually. One word: compounding.
The only thing Tony Robbins talks about is compounding, and that's something for a long-term goal, meaning you're not going to touch that for the next 20 minimum years, right?
Correct.
Just so you can have a nice chunk of compounding. So can you just break down بشكل مبسط?
Okay.
What is compounding?
Okay. Compounding, my 100 KD in a year is 110 KD. And it continues year to year to year to year until it becomes, inshallah, 100,000, a million, and so on and so forth.
If 10% every year is increasing, the overall
Correct.
is going to increase.
Increase.
Therefore,
Increase exponentially, because 110 next year will increase by 10%,
Yeah.
and that 110 will become 125 or whatever
Yeah.
the 10% of that is, and so on and so forth, right? 121 يعني.
Yeah.
It's constant increase exponentially يعني. For a beginner, it is actually the best way to go about it.
Did you see how good he is with numbers? That's 121. Boom, guys, take that. That's amazing. So for beginners, it's a great investment for long term.
صح.
It's easy. There's no complications. It's all automated. So let's talk about technology and how robots and technology are replacing humans in the workspace. Let me get you another bottle of water. While
Please do. نجاوب?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So, are they replacing? The question is, or are they supporting? Right? If we're talking about, thank you, Habib. So, if we're talking about an industry I'm interested in actually, which is logistics, right? You have warehouses.
Ooh.
Today, Amazon, for example, is almost entirely automated, I would say, besides the back end finance and so on and so forth. All their logistics and warehouses is automated. It's amazing.
Yeah, we should talk about that.
Yeah, minus the huge settlement he's going through right now. Yeah, بس الله يعينه إن شاء الله. الله يعينه.
I heard it wasn't profitable until like 5 years ago.
Correct. Yeah.
So?
Yeah. Because
they were doing a crazy business model.
hey, see, this is when you are an obsessive entrepreneur, right? So you fully believe in your business and you invest heavily and you incur losses for what? For a future goal and for future profits or a future vision. And I don't think Jeff Bezos is interested in profit. Absolutely not. For him,
Most
he's
wealthy guy in the world, man.
exactly. So for him, it's not money; it's change. Definitely change and making people's lives easier. Everyone's lives easier. Yani. I'm sure he made our lives easier.
But to a lot of people and entrepreneurs, you see the money topic is a bit sensitive. No, I don't like the money. I want change. No, I don't. But when you have money, you can make more change. So it's pretty tricky. So I think like the end goal deep down, everyone is starting this to make money so they can sustain this, so they can make this bigger. So money, of course, is a huge part of every business.
It's not the main goal.
It's not the main goal.
Absolutely not. Trust me. And I can speak on behalf of most entrepreneurs. It's definitely not the money.
I like that. Okay, so that makes sense, because we know a lot of entrepreneurs that are quote unquote successful, that are making that money, but it's not actually fulfilling them.
صح. Because it's not the money. At the end of the day, they have a vision in place, and the money is a means to an end. And it's a form of, how can I simplify this basically? So it's a way for you to achieve your goals, and without money, it's very hard to achieve goals.
Yes.
And I know money is a piece of paper, but in the world we live in, it's more than that, and it's actually a means for you to achieve things. And for people with ambitions, with goals, you need to have money to attain, to reach change, to change things, to change whether it's a politician going into his political campaign and trying to convince people to vote for him, right? You need money.
Yes.
Whether it is an entrepreneur that wants to build the world's largest gigafactory, Elon Musk, he needs money. It's to Elon Musk, the gigafactory is not there for him to make money.
Gigafactory.
Yeah.
I heard about the tunnel, but what the hell is he doing now?
So the gigafactory is basically it's all the I think they're ion batteries, or it's all the batteries that are in his electronic vehicles, in all in his cars, and all the basically battery slots that power the houses and everything in between. He's doing that, basically supply his future vision of having everyone drive an electronic vehicle.
So wait, a gigafactory is trying to avoid using batteries, or
لا, it supplies the batteries.
Okay.
بالضبط. Supplies the batteries.
Interesting.
It's back to money, right? He needs the gigafactory. He needs to invest Lord knows how much into this in order to have a fleet of electronic vehicles to go to market. And profits are an offshoot.
What does that mean? What do you mean profits is an offshoot?
So entrepreneurs, or let's say more successful entrepreneurs, are I wouldn't call them larger than life, but because of their large ambitions, they end up making money because of their successful vision. فهمت قصدي؟ It's not the profit that he's seeking. That's okay. If you become a billionaire out of the vision you have, yes, I am gonna have fun. Absolutely, right? Comes back to
You're right. You're right. It does make sense. But a lot of people, money can be a curse for them if they're not ready. Because if you go back to Sanduq, مثلا, the support they're doing, they can give you large amounts. And if you're not ready as an entrepreneur, or you don't have the right team, the knowledge, experience, whatever it is, the mentor to guide you on how you can spend that money. What do you think of that? Because you see a lot of entrepreneurs opening coffee shops, salons, gyms, and it's such a saturated space.
Huge saturation, and I think we need to incorporate more innovation when it comes to the mentors. I am a firm believer in education. So I think back to that and back to changing the mindset into developing new ideas and new non-saturated businesses, we definitely need to change not the education system, because that's going to be censored, but but change the curriculums that are in our education system, and incorporate entrepreneurship, new venture management, innovation management into our curriculums.
We're in the information age, bro. I think it's when it comes to education and the educational system, when I was talking to Intisar and she introduced me to her amazing team, we were talking about one of her non-profits, Bariq.
Yes.
And what they do is they try to not fix bullying, but redirect it. So the bullies in school, they have a leadership position, quote unquote, and they try to switch that from bullying to using that position, skills to direct it in a better way.
Direct the energy into something else.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, and in terms of the education, like I asked myself this question a long time ago, if you wanted to change the educational system, what would you change? Which curriculums? This is a very broad topic. Everybody has different opinions on.
That's an entire podcast in itself.
And a lot of entrepreneurs came from lousy educational backgrounds, yet they're innovative, yet they're creating the biggest companies in the world.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of tricky when it comes to the educational system and entrepreneurship.
Okay, so lousy education, it's a one-off thing for you to be a very successful entrepreneur with lousy education, because again, you're probably extremely obsessive, and you're probably already a very well-rounded person because you do your own self-read and so on and so forth. So education is, in my opinion personally, it's a huge factor in achieving success, whether it be creatively, businessly, corporate, political, whatever.
Yes.
باعتقادي الشخصي. And maybe people might disagree with that, but I think education is a core pillar in an individual's well-roundedness and in an individual's way of communicating his thoughts and a way for him to achieve his visions. أنا أعتقد. A lot of people, the more rebellious side of the spectrum, would say it's an institution, it's very structured, and that's not how education should be. Well, yes, there are a lot of institutions that are not structured actually and can offer you what you need. It's just about which institution you want to be a part of now. If you want to do self-learning and home learning, by all means do that. But I think being around people and being around the student body is very important, I think.
Very good point, man. Very good point. So, okay, like the educational aspect on the side, but the social aspect is huge.
Social aspect is huge.
Yeah, man, that makes sense. So, okay, so talking about social aspect.
Okay.
If you go back to the co-working space.
Yes.
I'm not the type of person that likes working in offices. So what I realize is that when I'm in a cubicle, I like I feel
that's why you left, unfortunately.
Yeah. But honestly, I didn't leave. Like I'm there. Tara, last week I was there, and the week before I was there, I was shooting. So I love the family. I love the community. It's not one of the reasons.
Absolutely.
And I want to know that how important is having a co-working space for you to develop a business?
Hello. It's a natural support system. I like to call it a physical platform and not an ecosystem. So we're developing a physical area with people that are like-minded, people that are going through the same struggles that you are.
Yeah.
People that are, as you mentioned it earlier in the podcast, people that are going through the same lonely route, right? So having that support network, which I totally forgot to mention, these are colleagues technically, right?
Yeah.
So they're not your team, but you can think of them as part of your extended team. Because, for example, Eid is my neighbor and Eid has Panda Media. You know what? I want to utilize Eid's experiences in developing my marketing content. So it's all about this networking and collaboration aspect, and this is why we named it Riyadh Collaborative Workspaces. Might be a cliche, but we're targeting the masses, and we want people to know that collaboration is key and core to success as well.
Can I be honest with you? I don't see anything cliche about Riyadh's brand. Zero.
Thank you.
Wallah al-azim, man. Like I'm saying this completely honestly, Saraha, man. Like when you walk into that office, you feel like you just stepped up a notch without even doing anything.
It's the warmth, yeah.
It's the warmth. It's also that because, like you said, there are a lot of different co-working spaces.
Correct.
Each one has a different energy, a different vibe, a different community, a different objective.
Yeah.
And I think, branding, of course, is the feeling you feel as soon as you think or hear the name of the brand. And Riyadh is one of those places that kept consistent in my brain, in my opinion, you know. So I love it.
أنا personally شخصيا يعني أعوذ بالله من كلمة أنا ولكن أفتخر بعروبتي. فهمت قصدي؟ ففي كلمة ريادة كلمة جدا يعني قوية، وريادة الأعمال مجال مثير جدا. والحين قاعد نتكلم بالعربي، شفتوا؟ ردينا الحين، كنا البودكاست كله بالانجليزي. بس ريادة basically is entrepreneurship in Arabic, and we operate in a local market that is predominantly Arabic speaking, and we want to support everyone in the market, and we want the masses to be entrepreneurs, and we want people to shift from the public sector to being self-employed, and we want people to shift from the private sector to being self-employed. فهمت قصدي؟ We all know that the public sector employs around 80% of the population. صح ولا لا؟ هذه يعني huge burden على الدولة. What is the solution? ريادة.
Entrepreneurs.
ريادة الأعمال.
صح.
So
that's where the name came from, huh?
Correct. That's how we thought about it, and we could have easily came up with a more fancy name, a more let's call it hipstery name, or more trendier.
I heard that they wasn't. I mean, again, this name, and you guys are the brand, right? The founders.
Thank you.
And this does represent you. If you are a hipster or more creative, but أنت صدق تفتخر بعروبتك يعني. You guys, he came in Dardish قطر عقال, and I always see قطر عقال Dardish, and he speaks amazing Arabic, amazing English equally, and صدق يعني Dardish is an Arabic word too. So when أنت تفتخر بعروبتك, although a lot of people are like, why is Dardish in English? بس عادي يعني we have حلقات بالعربي. But I agree with you, man. I love seeing people that are just يعني مفتخرين. They're not even like holding their ground or a bit aggressive about it. They're just really proud.
Exactly. Hey.
It's just really
Yet
proud.
again, I have a very open mind.
Oh yeah.
And I consider myself a global citizen.
Yeah.
Hey.
And you're very aware, self-aware. I think like as soon as you started speaking in Arabic, you caught yourself fast and you said, there you go, I'm speaking in Arabic. So that's self-awareness. And when you're self-aware, meaning you're aware of your emotions, your surroundings, the people you're with, and their emotions, and being empathetic. So how important do you think being self-aware and being empathetic as an entrepreneur?
Okay, being self-aware and empathy is core, key. Being self-aware means I think it's equivalent to being emotionally intelligent. And being emotionally intelligent is very important for you to control the external factors that try to bring you down. In my opinion, it is very important to be self-aware. It is very important not to give in to the external factors. I've had a lot of negative external factors around me at one point, and it's just let's call it attraction, or let's call it whatever you want to call it, but it's all about how you push that away and how to change your surroundings into a more positive surrounding, right? For you to achieve what you want. And that this is something by being self-aware, you can achieve that. It's very important. Very important.
I agree. And the external pressures or the negative external things that happen, what do you think are the most common external pressures that entrepreneurs here in this region, especially in Kuwait, face?
Okay. لا ما راح تنجح. فكرتك ما أتوقع الناس راح يتقبلونها. I think you are going over the top. Don't you think that's a bit too ambitious? No. فهذه كلمة النو ما نبي نسمعها. ما نبي نسمعها. لازم yes. And you have to surround with people that are positive. هذا هو. The external factors are people. Sorry الكلمة بس they are individuals that are not me and you. They are individuals that are probably content with where they are, and by all means you can be content with where you are. It's fine. عادي مو عيب يعني. بس don't portray or don't push support. فهمت قصدي؟ Because being around the positive energy, being around positive people, that is what will elevate you to the next level. فهذا external factors. فبس. My suggestions for people to avoid at all cost people who are negative and people that say no. Just the word no in itself.
Wow.
إيه بالضبط.
Yeah, because they're imposing their own beliefs, and sometimes most of the time it comes from family, and most of the times it comes from people that love you and really care for you.
Yes.
So those beliefs or those opinions are kind of coming from a place of care and fear.
صح.
So it's tricky, you know?
It's care and fear, and they probably don't want you to hurt yourself, whether it be economically or mentally by a potential failure.
Because you can get really messed up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, oh my God, like just huffing and puffing, because I've felt this a bunch of times, and
I've seen your journey the past 2 years.
Yeah.
I've seen what Eid has gone through from what he started during the days you wanted to leave your, let's call it corporate work, to where you are today. فهمت قصدي؟ فهذه it's not hurdles. It's you can see them as ups and downs, and it's a bumpy road, right? You're قاعد دعم مطوف. لين وصلت المكان اللي أنت تشوف فيه إنه okay, you know what? I'm good at this. This is successful. في traction. Let's push forward. فهمت قصدي؟
This is a product that the market wants. This is a product that the market doesn't want.
بالضبط.
Let it go.
Let it go. Don't dig a deeper hole. And this is something I've recently done. Actually, last week I was before the podcast I mentioned to you, I was working on a deal for the past year and a half, and I was planning takes a long time, by the way. And if you ever want to achieve success, you have to be a very good planner. That's a core, and you know best بعد. فسنة ونص قاعد أخطط وقاعد نسوي البلانز ودو the drawings ودو معرف إيش و source suppliers whatever. All right. Come the day of, we didn't get the deal. And because there was a, let's say, 5% difference between us and our competitors.
5%.
And we didn't talk about competitors yet in this podcast.
We will.
بالضبط. فتخيل this difference it's bad luck. But at the end of the day, you can't again what you cannot control as external factors لا تحط اللوم عليك. فهمت قصدي؟ that difference in 5% in attaining that deal for example ما كان بيدي صح ولا لا؟
صح.
فليش ألوم نفسي؟
صح.
move to the next thing. خلاص. A year and a half, don't think of it as time being wasted. Think of it as a learning curve. ما خسرت فيه.
تعلم.
مدرسة ببلاش.
It's an investment.
It's an investment.
You learn so much.
You learn so much. عادي.
Wow.
Next time it comes around, it'll be much easier for me to go about it. فهذه comes back to the positive mindset of taking any negative external factors and switching it into a positive outcome.
And that's part of being a fighter. Having
Exactly.
thick skin, man. والله صدق ما شاء الله عليك يعني this attitude يعني. Okay, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Is it something that runs in the family, entrepreneurship? Do you have siblings that are like you?
Yes, my sister is an entrepreneur as well. I come from an entrepreneurial background as well. My father is a career entrepreneur. And my mother is an entrepreneur as well.
MashaAllah.
Yes, it's relatively in the family. It's relatively in the family, correct.
And do you feel that يعني, basically being in a house of entrepreneurs, is there somewhat of I have to or I want to make them somewhat proud or is there some sort of like not negative but good competition?
It's a constant competition. which is good. بالعكس, it's a constant competition.
But again, you've got like you're living with practically mentors that
correct.
A phone call away.
Correct. بالضبط. It's a constant competition. It's a positive competition. It's not anything يعني بالعكس. I look at it in a very positive light, and it's fun, and I go seek their advice whenever I need some. I give my sister advice. She's my younger sister. She just graduated from her master's, and she might be able to support you as well. She's a brand strategist and innovation management.
Wow.
Exactly. So she's into the beauty industry today, and she basically...
It's a huge industry.
Regionally, especially today, with the likes of Bouticat, which is again a huge success story, mashallah. It's a market platform that is a value-added service for people, and look where it is today, and mashallah. It's a lot of people are now supplying through Bouticat, for example, right? So my sister has her own line of beauty products,
cosmetics.
They are more on the let's say body lotion aspect, so tans, body lotions, and so on and so forth. She gets franchises from abroad, and she's starting her own line of or her own brand soon enough, يعني, inshallah.
That's amazing, man.
That's slowly amazing. But surely. It's planting seeds.
It's good that I have a couple of things I wanted to ask you. It's amazing, and I wanted to work with one of cosmetic brands. I couldn't mention their names, but sure. I was looking at, like, that was the first time I did research about creams and cosmetics. And I don't usually use those things, right? I don't know much, at least. So what I realized is that it's pretty tricky when it comes to marketing because it's not only the cream you're selling. In my opinion, I think humans go towards avoiding, because we do everything for two reasons, either to avoid pain or to gain pleasure. So basically, in the marketing, if you focus in the avoiding the pain aspect when you're selling a product, people are more inclined to take action, because that evokes more emotion, and emotion is action, right? So when you tell them, instead of tell them, here, get this cream and it will give you, that's gaining pleasure. It will give you a clear skin. Tell them here, or tell them what would happen if you don't use this cream.
Correct.
What will happen in the next 3 years to your skin? How would you look? So that approach when it comes to, and making it
the brand recognition,
and making it part of their daily lives where they can't live without. You know, that's kind of tricky when it comes to cosmetics and how they, you know. Okay,
so I'm let's say I utilize male products, whether it be for see, again, very open about it. I utilize whether it be hair creams, whether it is facial creams, body lotion, so on and so forth. يعني. And for me, as you said, it has to be a pleasure or something that is يعني a necessity in another way. And for me, it's a daily necessity.
Yes.
فهمت قصدي؟
Yes.
فأنا الحين I use these products daily. وإذا انقطع من السوق شو يصير فيني؟
Something's missing.
وينه؟ لا
صح.
اوف ادق على السبلاير شو الموضوع؟
Yep.
فهمت قصدي؟
Yep.
ف in any product actually for it to be a success it has to be more of a necessity and less of a novelty or a luxury. And it's harder to sell a luxury.
Oh yeah. The brand was a luxury.
بالضبط.
The best packaging, and the packaging even won awards.
اي
Like it's not the packaging.
بالضبط. And I'm sure they're a success ما شاء الله. It's very hard to sell a luxury aspect, and if you do it well, I take my hats off. Bravo.
Yeah, I love what you said about it's a necessity and it's something that you can't. So I wanted to ask you, what is value added services for those who don't know?
Okay. Value added services. Remind me the context we talked. Oh, yes. Okay. So, value added services, let's say, for example. Okay. I'll get back to the robo advisors, right? So basically you have the investment company, you have the advisors. Previously, a client goes to the advisor physically, right? Today, I don't have to go to the advisor physically. I can use the app to conduct my investments through the same firm. So for the firm, it's a value-added service, and for the client, it's also a value-added service. I'm trying to think of another example as well.
So value-added service meaning
it's a layer on top of the on top of the value an entity or a product already offers. فهمت قصدي؟
Okay. So it's solving the second problem.
Correct. They're secondary problems. They're problems that increase timeliness of delivering a product or service.
Ooh,
بالضبط.
I like that. I like that. And that's something that I love giving as bonuses. The second problem.
Yeah.
So, or the objections, because when you're selling any product,
Yeah.
everybody has objections. It's too expensive. It's not for me. Why I won't use it. I don't have the time.
The price is never right for anyone. وانت عايش بالكويت كل يبي خصم ماكو.
Well, Haji, it's tricky, man. I know a friend that sells beads.
Yes.
And when
I
it
like
comes,
those, yeah.
thank you, man. When it comes to pricing, he makes them at home. Mazaj Boutique, he's doing great. When it comes to pricing, he's not on the low end, and it's pretty tricky because you're not just buying a product. So when you put a story behind the product, like if I told you this is a notebook.
Yes, I still have that, by the way.
Thank you, guys. Nobody needs therapy, but everybody needs clarity. That's what it says on the notebook.
Yeah.
And so if I tell you this is a notebook that's worth 50 KD, you'll be like, 50 KD for a notebook. But if I told you that Einstein used this notebook.
Yes.
So now there's a story behind this product.
Correct, a backstory to it.
A backstory. So if
Yeah.
you see, like a branding, that's very, very powerful. Like you see these pictures of 2 cups of coffee,
yeah.
one with the logo, one without, and you can see the difference.
100%.
So how important do you think is having a story behind a product, a brand, a service?
Okay. You can buy a banana for 200 fils. You can buy a banana milkshake for a KD and a half.
Ugh.
That's how important it is.
The exact same banana.
The exact same banana.
Beautifully said, right?
That's how important it is.
Okay, so in terms of saturated businesses here in Kuwait, so if somebody's listening that they want to start a business and not a big budget, although I think that a limiting belief of a lot of people is I need money to start a business.
Yes.
Like that's the first thing that stops them.
Correct.
Ideas are always there. How many friends that came to you be like, Talal, عندي فكرة.
صح.
So it's not the idea anymore, is it?
It's
Or
So,
the
okay.
money aspect.
so in saturation, idea, money.
Yes.
I want to take it from money aspect first. Money should never be an issue because we live in a region or in a country that is one wealthy and that is offering funding via different channels. For example, عندك البنك الصناعي, عندك الصندوق الوطني, عندك the grants you get من وزارة الشباب.
أيوة I was just gonna say that. Yes.
فعندك different channels من الحكومة.
Yes.
هذا من ناحية فلوس.
Yes. غير investors يعني.
غير investors.
Yeah.
Investors بعد هذه it's another totally different other pool which is very easy to access with the right network. And if anyone has an idea, a solid one with a plan on board, حياكم, we have a funding network and we'll push it forward to the investors. Not necessarily me or my team, but we will bring someone that is strategic for you and your business. This is what Irada Business Incubator does also. It provides a funding network for entrepreneurs and eases access by, let's call it, meeting the right co-founder or the right partner should you not have one, for example. فهمت قصدي؟ Money is never an issue. Money is never an issue.
That's such a juicy topic. I want to talk about partners. Money is never an issue. That makes sense.
Money is never.
That makes sense. Yeah. And I think if you're a good salesman, like if you're able to sell your idea to investors and friends, like would be potential investors.
And if you're not a good salesman and you have a very good idea, partner with someone that is a magnet. مو قلنا لك صح؟ The 3 M's.
صح. You see co-founders, some of them are magnets, some of them are just makers, and they work perfectly.
بالضبط وهذا الأساس. بالعكس عادي المونيتور أو الميكر يكون عنده الفكرة إنزين بس ما يعرف شلون يوصلها, or he does not know how to communicate the idea, right? What Warren Buffett said basically, 85% of success is how you communicate your vision and your idea to the market. And that is very true.
I love
but
that.
you can be a founder that is a monitor or a maker. Find someone that's a magnet عادي. مو عيب يعني.
صح.
Don't have that founder's dilemma. Or don't have that founder's remorse or whatever you want to call it, basically, of not partnering up. بالعكس it's less risk on you and you're spreading out the risk with other people. فهمت قصدي؟
صح.
Hey.
You see, what I like about not having partners is decisions move faster. You know?
صح.
That's one benefit, but again, having 2-3 minds is way better than having one mind.
Correct.
Especially if they're smarter than you. Like
Correct.
I believe in hiring people that are always smarter than me.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about saturation.
Okay. زين.
I have a great idea for a coffee shop.
Okay. Your brand has to be extremely good.
So what is extremely good?
Okay.
Because we have the best, I think, beans in Kuwait. So that's one thing that we can't cover. We have the best interior design in Kuwait.
I think it's a very difficult market to get into today. If I'm being very honest, you have market leaders that have been operating for ages, whether they are homegrown or franchises, the likes of Volume 1, Toby's, Arabica, and the list goes longer. But why did I say these top 3? Again, because they're the leaders, obviously. The rest are, let's call them, if you live abroad, basically the neighborhood cafes, right? So if you have an office in Ahmed Al-Jaber, your neighborhood cafe would probably be OJ's or something next to you. For now, it's less about expanding and more about being a neighborhood cafe, for example, for targeting a specific area, having a specific area, square meter area that can suffice for the area you're in. So you have to target your surrounding areas. As opposed to having a successful coffee shop that can expand, you need to have solid investors on board, or you need to hit the market strong and open 3, 4, 5 locations in one go, for example.
That's very interesting. That's a very interesting approach.
Either or, بالضبط.
So the opening 3, 4 locations at once. That's very tricky. Because what I realize is that
that's if you have a solid brand.
Okay.
If you have a solid brand, investors on board, for you to really infiltrate the market, you have to do it that way.
Yes, again, if you have invest
my approach might be a bit aggressive, but
yeah, of course you want to approach that way with coffee, because now it's just too big of a competition and saturated. You're right. Because I realize that the number one thing a lot of businesses here in the region are struggling with is retention. Yani you can get a person to download the application,
صح.
You can get, how many applications do you have on your phone that you downloaded and you only used once?
I don't use, yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
So how many, you can get a person to go inside and buy that cup of coffee.
صح.
But it's the retention that a lot of people.
Retention rate is very important, and that comes from a solid customer experience.
Primarily.
Sorry, I'll have to say something before that. It comes from the quality of the product, طبعاً, and then the customer experience. Absolutely.
You see, that's what I was talking to a friend of mine last week about this. I was like, it's all about the customer experience. And then I was like, wait a second. He just spoke to me about him going to this falafel place. He's not Kuwaiti. He's like, I went to this falafel place in the city and it was ghetto.
falafel شرف هذا.
ظهر انه ما في انسى كاستمر اكسبيرينس. واحد قاعد يصرخ عليك من ورا شو ما تبي اطبخ يحذف لك الفلان واحد عرفت. Then I was like, shit, that was a beautiful experience, quote unquote experience. So when it comes to like a product versus customer experience, I think that product wins in that.
In its own right, صح. أكيد.
Yeah, so it's kind of a, يعني, even marketing, it's trial and error, right?
صح.
There's no one way that's gonna work. You're gonna have to try it out.
100%.
So when you say if somebody has a good idea, man, this episode I'm loving صراحة.
Thank you. I'm enjoying it as well, big time صراحة. Yeah.
So when you say people who have an idea and a plan and a clear plan,
صح.
what does that mean? A plan? Market research.
A plan is definitely market research, definitely knowing the competitor landscape, definitely knowing your regional comparables, definitely knowing who your global benchmark is, as I named it, right? Because you have to have this layered comparison to know how to get into the market the right way. And then planning also involves strategic planning, involves what is the organizational hierarchy, which is operational planning and resource management. It's multifactorial. It's a huge booklet before you ever started thinking of putting one dime into a project.
You see, that's beautifully put, man. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't know, because يعني so many just people say, okay, بس أبطل لي صالون وخليه أبطل لي مطعم ولا أبطل لي coffee shop ويجيب لي influencer and خلاص I'm good.
صح.
But what you just mentioned is like that's explained when you said it took me a year and a half working on this business and the planning, especially if it's a big contract.
صحيح.
So regional comparables, what's the difference between that and competitors?
Okay. Very good question. So it depends how far stretched your vision is, right? So if you want to open in Kuwait alone, then you want to see what the neighboring countries are doing. On the other hand, if you want to be a regional player, then you have to have the regional competitive landscape. If it depends where you want to open, how big you want to be, and what your level of contentment is, يعني عرفت. It's purely that basically. Best for most businesses locally, let's say the brick and mortar businesses, regional comparables is a solid way to go about it, right? You want to see what solid brands of the same industry are doing in Saudi, are doing in Qatar, are doing in UAE.
Okay, that makes sense.
But then if you ever want to expand to Saudi from Kuwait, then the regional comparables are regional competitors. You have that market research in place already. Hey.
So it depends on where if you want to expand or you just want to keep it locally. That makes sense. And there's something called funnel hacking. Funnel hacking is basically when you literally research your competitors, take your credit card out, buy their product, and go through their entire funnel. Okay. So that will make you know exactly what they're doing, how they're talking, their emails, their retargeting, their product, their delivery, their customer experience, every single thing.
That's a solid way to go about it.
Especially when it comes to e-commerce or like online digital marketing, just sometimes the best thing to do is to swipe up your credit card and buy the product. So funnel hacking is a great idea. We didn't talk about e-businesses. Let's just try to talk about it before we end this amazing episode.
Thanks, man.
What do you think? I think as an entrepreneur, you're either into something or not. So me personally, I don't like even thinking about starting F&B or e-businesses.
Me too.
So what are your thoughts? Because as we speak, maybe in Kuwait especially, it's the hub for some of the biggest and most successful e-businesses in the region.
Okay.
And what do you think of people investing so much money, man, on like applications? And as every day there's one application going live in Kuwait approximately, and every day there's one application dying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are your ideas on those?
So e-businesses, okay, I wanna basically dissect it into two, right? So you have the market places or the market platforms, which are the likes of Talabat, Carriage, Boutiquat, and so on and so forth, right? So and you have Just Clean, which is the laundry mat marketplace as
It
well.
was just acquired by that.
Adil, صحيح. When it comes to that kind of e-business, I am personally not a big fan of it. It's a success, yes, in its respective fields, but I'm not a big fan of it. I am a fan of e-business, or when it comes to value-added services. Again, right? And my new obsession today is financial technology, and because I'm a firm believer in open banking, so I'll define that quickly. So open banking is having basically the bank in the palm of your hands, not having to ever see a person. For me, I think that's the future of finance, and I'm actually pursuing a long-term plan to tackle that. Yeah, and when it comes to value-added services, I think there's a huge room for people to come in locally and regionally in whatever field it is. يعني I'm just my thought process شوية ضعيفة. ما عندي examples of the other value-added services as examples, but we'll share them in the comment يعني, if anything. This is when it comes to e-businesses. It depends. Marketplace versus value-added.
Value-added. We're in a country where service-based country, man. We love
بالضبط.
everything delivered to us.
كل شيء.
كل شيء يعني, you know?
بالضبط.
And also it's not the idea again, and you can have the same idea and give it to 5 different people. Each one will just present it to the market differently.
I agree. So value added service تو just kicked in basically logistics. حلو. أنا عندي I'm a florist. ما عندي fleet of cars. بس عندك the likes of, for example, Armada delivery or delivery app or whatever. Okay, تعال. I vertically integrate. You help me sell and open another channel, which is the delivery aspect, right? The florist already has his line of business, which is people that come in and purchase physically. But that value-added service is an additional line of revenue for the business, which is also positive for the delivery company. So that's what I mean about it, value-added services. So I would suggest people to start researching about this and start finding different avenues that can make our lives easier.
That's a beautiful example, man. That really wraps it up. Yeah, if you think about a value-added service, that's exactly it. That's perfect. All right, man. Whew, we covered a bunch of things today. That was so. It was
quite a detailed podcast. I enjoyed it very much. ما شبعت أنا بيني بينك يعني.
We can keep going. We're gonna keep going for another 10 minutes. Okay, so let's talk about competitors in a bit more specifically.
Okay.
يعني الحين يعني there's no new idea, man. يعني you're gonna always have competitors. When people come to you or Irada with an idea and they did their research, do you sometimes say reject people or to say no to people?
Okay. So the initial idea was for us to open the floodgates for anyone that has an idea. Because we believe that no matter who you are, you can be a success in whatever, how small, how big your idea is, all right? No matter how saturated the market is. Again, back to the pivoting aspect, right? So you have an idea, let's say it's a nursery. You have a lot of nurseries today in the market, right? But how do you define yourself differently in terms of brand recognition مثل ما تفضلنا? You can always have a successful idea, بس على قولتهم mind mapping. So go through the process of finding a niche within that competitive industry. فهمت قصدي؟ فالcompetition is always there. مهما كان مثل ما تفضلت. ما وايد صعب اليوم إنك with an innovative idea that's gonna revolutionize the world. Right? Let's be realistic. I'm not trying to dumb anyone down, let alone me or you. بس صدق يعني ترى وايد صعب حتى لو تشوف الأفكار اللي قاعد تجينا اليوم بالسوق الكويتي. Most of them are what is called as cloning. So they're clone applications or they're clone platforms, which is fine because it is innovative here, but they've been existing globally. فعلى قولتهم they're mirror companies يعني.
Yeah, I mean that really makes sense now when you talk about cloning. And yeah, I mean you can see them even in TV shows. And that's the easiest example to think about.
But Dardish is not cloning.
Oh,
Dardish is very unique in my opinion. صراحة يعني.
Thank you, I appreciate that, man. And on that note, I think it's a great time to end this amazing episode. Wallah, guys, يعني, if you're an entrepreneur, I learned so much from this amazing guy. I really want to have you again, man.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Yeah,
anytime,
man, inshallah, man.
Habibi.
And I want to know more about where Riyadh is going, where Irada is going, and maybe we could take some snippets, some videos to show you guys how amazing everything these people are doing صراحة.
So نصيحة وبعطيها من كل قلبي إلى جميع المشاهدين. كن طموح، طبق أفكارك. فشلت عادي، نجحت ممتاز، كمل على نجاحك. لا يصير في نوع من الرادع أو من الخوف في إنجاز أي فكرة مهما كانت جنونية. right؟ وايد ناس يقولون لنا لا that's a crazy idea وهذا. Don't think of it in that way. Push forward, persevere, and have a support network at all times.
And on that note, guys, that was a beautiful episode, and we will see you guys soon. Take care.
It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Watch out now. Cause baby, I feel real good, and I wish I would. Watch out now. It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Watch out now. Everybody watch out. Watch out now. I'm ready for a good time, and I came to groove. The whole band's here and we came to move. Got a fresh haircut and 2 new shoes. We're here all night like we got nothing to lose. I'm coming out the jacket cause we're turning up the heat. I wanna see you clapping when you get up out your seat. It's time to make it happen when we hit these streets. I'm coming in hot and I can't be beat. Watch out now. Baby, watch out now. Watch out. I'm on the move, I'm going up. I'm a man on a mission with no missions, and I'm looking for love. Oh, I'm just looking for love. It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Watch out now. Cause baby, I feel real good, and I wish I would. Watch out now. It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good, baby. Watch out now. Everybody watch out. Last call for some alcohol, and don't forget to tip. The sun went down, but we still lit. The band's still going, playing all the hits. I guess I'm now too legit to quit. I'm coming out the jacket cause we're turning up the heat. I wanna see you clapping when you get up out your seat. It's time to make it happen when we hit these streets. I'm coming in hot and I can't be beat. Watch out now. Everybody watch out. Watch out. I'm on the move, I'm going up. I'm a man on a mission with no missions, and I'm looking for love. Oh, I'm just looking for love. It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Watch out now. Hey, baby, I feel real good, and I wish I would. Watch out now. It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good, baby. Watch out now. Everybody watch out. Watch out now. Everybody watch out.